Hi everyone, it's the_0myth back with a revised tier list. You might know me better by my in-game name BL8, and I'm here to bring you a better look at who's stronger in Legends of Ace. I wasn't completely satisfied with my last one, so even though it's the same patch, I wanted to update it for you guys. I just thought that I wasn't doing as good a job. So anyhow, I'd like to start by mentioning that I changed my tiers up a bit to a more standard way of doing it. The S tier is going to be your first picks. They're overtuned and need nerfs. Your A tier are going to be your very strong characters, and you can pick them into any game and do well. B tier is going to be a little bit above average, but you're just going to need to know a little bit more about the character or some certain mechanics with them in order to do well with them. Your C tier is going to be about average. You just need to be good with them. They need to be people that you have time on, that you're maining. Somebody just picking them up is not going to win against an S tier. Most characters aren't. But yeah, that's what C tier is. D tier is going to be either a little below average, or they really need a specific niche to work well. Either way, it means that you don't really want to pick them every game. F tier is just going to be your regular, the ones that you just don't really want to play, and that they need some kind of buffs or something like that to help them, or like some sort of like quality of change or rework or quality of life, my bad. Anyhow, luckily this time I'm not going to have anything in my unsure of placement or my new characters. So, starting the tier list, I'm going to start by putting Hercules into S tier. By the way, I'm structuring this in a way that I think the characters that I think are best are coming before the characters that are coming worse. So that way when you look at it, left to right, top down, it's going to be the people that, in my opinion, are the best to the ones that are, in my opinion, the worst. Anyhow, so my number one pick is going to be Hercules. Hercules is going to be a late game melee carry that does marksman levels of damage, but is much more tanky while doing it without having to build a single tank item. Basically, his cooldowns reset. He's got hard CC, he's got massive amounts of mitigation and CC mitigation. Because he's a melee character, he can cleave people, and he's got slows innate in his kit to help him stick to people. Unless you're CC chaining him to down, and he never popped his 2, or he doesn't have his ultimate up, or anything like that, you aren't killing Hercules. Hercules is killing you. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter if he's on a sliver of HP, it doesn't matter. What you want to do is you want to build him with crit, an agility card, and some sort of life steal, whether it's life claw or slaughter or something like that. After Hercules, my number 2 pick is going to be Deny. Deny, I think, is a control mage that has too much damage for a control mage. Basically, she has massive team-wide CC, massive damage, and she's also got really long range. The fact that she isn't super mobile doesn't matter if you're just stunned permanently. That's just how that works. Or it's not permanent, but she can slow you permanently at least. After that, I'm going to be putting Lyn in my number 3 spot. Lyn, you will see him all the time in your higher ranks. You don't see him as much in lower ranks, but that's just because they don't know about him. Basically, he's super tanky. His ultimate is a great team fight ult for dragging the entire team dead center. So that they're all grouped up for like whichever mage you have on your team to just blow them up. He's just really good. He's really tanky, and if you want to, you can build him damage. He isn't always as damagey that way, or he isn't as tanky that way, but he can solo people if you build him that way. Either way, Lin is really good because of just his kit itself. After that, I'm going to be putting Teslin into my number 4 spot. I think people are really sleeping on Teslin. I think he's a little bit broken right now. I can't think off the top of my head what you can do to fix him besides just toning down his damage a bit. What you want to do with him is you pop all your abilities all at once as you go in on a team. What that's going to do is it's going to take everybody to half health or less. Doesn't matter if they're a tank, doesn't matter who they are. Teslin just wrecks them. You can build him to either one-shot people if you want to do a carry build, which involves the blink reset card, or you can do a more tanky build that has stuff like magnetizing constitution in it. Either way, you want to build at least some raw damage so that when you pop all of his abilities as you engage, it hurts. But other than that, you can build him however you want. The one card that you always need to build on him, though, is Lord Electric. That's core. After Teslin, the very first person that I'm putting into my A tier is going to be Beamon. I wouldn't put him as high in S, but he's a close 5. Beamon offers 24% max HP damage all at once, if you choose to go that way. That's like not including any type of raw damage, like any base damage or scaling that you have on those abilities. In addition to that, you're rewarded for building him tanky because his ult, the true damage, scales off his own health. And basically you put him in the jungle and you don't have to worry about Void Pit or Dragon ever again, because he will just bite them and they will disappear. It basically makes him really good for objective secure, and when late game comes, he can just walk up to a carry and kill them with all his percent max HP damage and his ult. After Beamon, it's going to be Olsen. If I can find him. Where is Olsen? I know you're around here somewhere. I just need to go one by one then. Okay, there he is. So, Olsen is going to be my number 6 pick. I was underrating him, like his Suicide Olsen. That is good in every game that you go into. Basically, what you do is you put Death Horn on him, and you split push all game and build crit. That's all there is to it. Basically, you just go unkillable for 5 seconds, and then when you do die, you've got another 5 seconds to spin around 3 times and kill people that way as well. In other words, he's always going to trade 1 for 1, and if you're a good Olsen, you'll trade 1 for 2 or 1 for 3, and either way, you just kill towers really fast. So, I cannot stress how good Olsen is, or I can't stress it enough. After Olsen, I'm going to be putting Bradamante into my A tier. Where is she? Bradamante. There she is. Okay. Bradamante is going to A. I wasn't really sure where to put her in my last tier list, but I have determined that being able to go untargetable and one-shot somebody with an ability is very, very strong. She's a melee carry, and she's got the potential to one-shot somebody just off her ult. You want the cards that make her abilities crit, and then you just want to build her like a regular melee carry like Hercules or Arthur might do it. After that, it's going to be by burst melee carries. Where is she? Oh, wait. No, I need to put Morgan up there first. Morgan, I think, is a super high value jungle. She basically has a lot of safe engage. Like, all of her abilities either fling her back, or they like fling her back into flight mode, or something like that. She's just basically very, very strong. because she's able to dip in and out of fights. And not only that, she's got really high burst damage, and her ultimate gives her a shield, so it helps with her survivability. She's just got super high map presence because of that move speed. Morgan's just good. Oh, so now that is out of the way, I'm going to start with Deborah and then Brunhild. So here, I should explain them both at the same time. Deborah and Brunhild offer the same thing, in my opinion. Basically what they do is they CC chain you to death, or rather their CC chain is long enough for their damage to one combo you, more or less. Outside of that, they're pretty tanky. I call them burst melee carries because they're oriented around their abilities rather than their basic attacks like a regular melee carry. The only reason that I say Deborah is better than Brunhild is because Deborah has... I'd just say that her ultimate is better. That's the main reason that I would say Deborah is better than Brunhild. Her ultimate has a lot of potential to control an enemy team. After those two, I'm going to be putting Medusa up into A tier. Where is Medusa? I do this so frequently. Where is she? Medusa, where are you? Did I put her up there already? No, I did not. Oh, she's sorry, guys. So, Medusa, I think, is going to be a little bit below the ones in A, simply because she isn't as tanky. However, I believe that she is the best marksman in the game. She basically, because of her passives and her snakes and the cards that make her snakes all focus on one target, she has higher damage potential than the other marksmen. And then outside of that, she just has a lot of stuns in her kit. You want to get the one that makes her her little falling snake rain, her poke ability. You want to make that one the stun card. And basically she just offers really high damage and a lot of stuns. Yeah, that's really good for a marksman. It doesn't even matter that she's a little immobile if she's just able to take out people while stunning them as she's doing it. After Medusa, I'm going to be putting Hestia into A. I know that a lot of people don't like seeing Hestia about as much as they don't like seeing Deny, and there's good reason for that. While Deny has, either way, while she offers really high CC, Hestia offers the ability to one combo somebody very, very quickly. Like there's no counterplay once you get caught by that first stun. That's what Hestia offers. In addition to that, her passive is broken right now. It should be every 10 seconds. She gets her magma aura, or whatever that is, that resets her abilities. But instead, in-game, it happens every 5 seconds. Basically, it just makes her very spammy. And once she hits a certain point, her poke becomes one combo instead. That's what Hestia brings. That's why she's very strong. Outside of Hestia, the last person that I'm going to be putting into my A tier is going to be Odysseus. Odysseus is barely under Medusa. What he does is he offers max HP percentage true damage, so that's always going to be strong. And then his Shadow Burst is very good for kiting, and his ultimate allows him to go untargetable. To have that kind of, what do you call it? You're able, as a Odysseus, you're able to either kite somebody, or if you're good at him, you're able to time your ultimate to dodge like their ultimate or something like that. It makes Odysseus is just a very safe character, and he offers almost as much damage as Medusa does. Yeah, I think, honestly, between the two of them, it comes down to skill and which one you prefer. Medusa is better in team fights, though, and because, in my opinion, it's a late-game team fight meta, that's what you want. You want Medusa over Odysseus, but Odysseus is almost as good. After Odysseus, I'm going to start B tier with Ogier. Ogier is going into B. He is our true tank support in the game. He doesn't have mobility outside of his passive where he just lunges at somebody. But what he does offer is healing off his ult, shields off his 2, and hard CC to protect his carry on his 1. Basically, it makes him really hard to fight against if you're an assassin character or a jungle or something like that. Somebody with really high burst damage but is squishy. He really makes it to where you can't focus targets, because the second that you try to get on them, he's either healing them, shielding them, or he's CCing you. It makes him really good at protecting people, and in addition to that, if you just need him to walk at the enemy team and absorb damage, he can do that as well. I would say that he's second best tank in the game. Only Lyn is better. After him, I am going to be putting Arthur. There he is. Arthur is going to be just after Ogier. Basically, he's like Hercules, but not as good in team fights. And he's also more squishy because he doesn't have any like tank items built in. I've been seeing a guy running around with a tank Arthur build, and I wouldn't say it's particularly good, but it's also very interesting as a front line if you just use his innate kit to deal damage and have like an on-hit like slaughter or something to help him sustain himself, as well as like deal percentage true like it works. But I'm not sure that's what you want to build Arthur for. Basically, I think Arthur is possibly the best duelist in the game. In a one-on-one, he will beat just about everybody, including Hercules. It's just tougher for him to do a little bit, but he's very high damage. He's a melee carry. That's what he does. His steroid is very strong. His ultimate is good for singling somebody out in a team fight. I just say that he's a little squishy for my taste. After Arthur, I'm going to be putting Moryu up in my number 16 spot. Moryu, I think, is a bit tough to build, but the one thing that I think is absolutely core on whether or not you want to, like, either you can build him as a mage, although that isn't as good and it's a lot harder to use than his crit lifesteal build. But the one thing that you always want on him is that the stun card on his ult. The reason why I put him up into S tier was for that card in the first place. I've since devalued that. Well, I haven't devalued that. I've just devalued the rest of his kit. If he's a marksman that's like centered around his ult, that's okay. But it doesn't put him into S tier. The other thing about him, though, is that he's really safe when he gets the dash card that gets rid of his little spray and pray, and it makes him dash and gain a shield. That's very strong. He does substantial AA damage early game. Like, you wouldn't think it, but he does. Because you just don't expect marksmen to, like, hit you really hard early, I guess. But Moryu does that. I wouldn't say that he's better than Odysseus or Medusa, but his ultimate is a team fight carrier, and if you need somebody with an ultimate that'll carry a team fight, pick Moryu. After Moryu, I'm going to be putting Oakley. Oakley is sort of the fourth, closely behind Moryu in my opinion, but she offers something different. What she does is she offers very easy access to crit, and she's very long range. The only problem that I have with her is that she has no CC to help her get away from somebody if they hop on her. So if they manage to close that gap, she's You know, she's a marksman. She's squishy. But she offers very high damage, and her ultimate can one-shot too. So there's that as well. She's very scary to fight. After Oakley, I'm going to be putting Morgan. Where is Morgan? There she is. Morgan is going to be my number 18 spot. Basically, Morgan has really high move speed, so she's able to be, even without like actual mobility, she just has like a second set of boots. So it allows her to zoom around the map really, really fast. In addition to that, she has great poke, as well as great wave clear in general. So if you're like really trying to stall for time, Morgan's good for that too, because she's able to rotate so quickly and she's got such high wave clear late game. In addition to that, if you're good at using her ultimate, she's able to blow up squishies really well too. I'd just say that her lack of hard CC is kind of limiting. And she doesn't have a true escape, so if she gets hopped on, she kind of dies. But she is strong, and she's very good for like long-range poke. After Morgan, I'm going to be putting Mokazuki, or Makazuki. Makazuki is also going into B tier. I think that you have to have a little bit of a brain to play her, because it's kind of easy to throw yourself out of position a little bit. However, her ultimate is her get out of jail free card. She can use that to finish kills, chase kills, get out of dodge if she's hopped on. In addition to that, her abilities reset. So if you kill somebody, her basic abilities are going to reset, and if you kill everybody in a team fight, her ultimate resets too. So that's always nice to have. You know, she's just, I think it's a bad idea to build her around her abilities though, or rather around her basic attacks, because her abilities deal so much damage. I think eviscerate and stuff like that is the way to go. If you need to finish somebody off with basics, that's just as good, because they'll still hit hard despite that. So yeah, Mokazuki is just very safe, and she's very bursty, and her abilities reset too. So if you get one kill in a team fight, you can get a lot of them. After Mokazuki, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be putting her into C tier. Flora is going to start my C tier. She has very high CC for a marksman, and it makes her very good early game. Like, really, really good. She's able, like, if you need that pressure in DS lane to secure that first dragon, Flora is very good for that. The problem is that late game she is unsafe. She doesn't have a true escape, so that it's sort of sad, but you can gain leads on Flora, and if you really need to, you can literally just sit back and wait for Flora to catch somebody with her hook late game. You can do that. I would just say that a well-played Flora is scary, but she's unsafe. So I would put her as the best of C tier. After Flora, I'm going to be putting on Darvi. And Darvi is a solid true tank. His ultimate is very scary when you're stuck in it because it slows you down. So if you're an immobile person, you don't get out of that ult unless you blow flash. I don't know. He just deals surprisingly high damage for a support. If you throw in a couple damage cards to help boost that, it makes him pretty scary. He can solo carry sometimes, especially if he's ahead. I just don't know. I wouldn't call him better than Lin or Ogier, though. He's solid, though. Like, I wouldn't sleep on Darvi. He's got a lot of potential to be a playmaker. After Darvi, I'm going to be putting Loki. Where is Loki? There he is. Loki is going next. I think that Loki is only in C tier because you have to have a lot of time on him in order to play him well, or at least for the average person. You have to build Loki certain ways. It's better to think of him as a mage more than a marksman, if that helps. You just really need to focus on his dashes a lot and optimizing his stun on his too. You can do a lot of fun stuff with Loki. He's my favorite like character in the game. I play him a lot. He just has a very high skill ceiling. It's hard to optimize his builds, and I think that a lot of it has to do, like, it's very player dependent on how well you do with Loki. I might make a guide on him sometime. After Loki, I'm going to be putting Dracula up. I think Dracula is a drain tank. You can build him tankier, you can build him more damagey, but either way, he doesn't have like instantaneous one-hit kill burst. But what he does do is that the longer the fight goes on, the better off he is. I think that he's relatively balanced, but he's snowbally. If you don't get like a level lead, it's hard to use him properly. However, early game, it's really hard to compete with his lack of mana and his ability to like steal health off of you. So do with that what you will. I think Dracula is like a very balanced character, and you should look at him a lot. He doesn't have hard CC, which kind of sucks, but outside of that, I would say that he's solid. I would say that he's solid and he's very balanced. After Dracula, I'm going to be putting Edic. I think I undervalued Edic a little bit. Edic has like a similar ultimate to Lyn, to where it drags everybody in. However, unlike Lyn, it takes a moment to do that so people can get out of dodge if they need to. Basically the playstyle of Edic is that early game, he is a mage. Late game, he is a marksman. You can either build him to capitalize on one or the other, or you can build him with a couple like mage-like cards early and then have his late game be more crit focused or something like that. That's the way I personally enjoy building him. It makes it to where you have to use your whole kit to get the best out of him, and I really enjoy that playstyle. But Edic has a lot of potential to be flexible, but you have to play around his ult, and he's surprisingly tanky for a marksman. So there's that as well. After him, I'm going to be putting Hela, or I don't know. Basically, she is incredibly dangerous when she's ganking you. Her ultimate allows her to rotate almost halfway across the map. She has the longest range ult in the game, by the way. She's got a lot of potential to be a hard carry, especially from jungle. I would just say that she's very player dependent. If you don't know how to play Hela well, it's not going to work out. If you do, though, she is very dangerous. That's sort of what characterizes C. After that, I'm going to be starting D tier with Achilles. Achilles is going to be the best person in D tier. The key to Achilles is that he is hard to build properly. He's got a lot of different cards. Not all of them are good on him. You can build a lot of things on him, but not everything is going to work out. The good thing, though, is that his passive is strong, so he can be deceptively tanky. I would just say that he's an okay tank or an okay melee carry. I would just say that he's kind of in a weird spot. He offers a little bit of both worlds, but he's not better than anybody specialized at that job. What that does mean is that you can pick him a lot and you don't have to worry about anybody else picking him. So if you want to main Achilles, by all means, he's a solid character to main if you get him down properly. But I would just say that he's even harder than C tier to get that value properly. But if you do, I would say Achilles is very strong. Not super top tier, but just below that. So after Achilles, I am going to be putting Minotaur. Minotaur is very, very high single target lockdown. In addition to that, he is very, very tanky. It makes him good at engage, but his lack of like big AoE stuff for being a true tank kind of makes me think that he's better in solo lane than as a support. But either way, when you pick a Minotaur, you're just picking a very, very beefy frontline character. And as that job, he performs well. He does his job well. If somebody leaps on his carry, he can do the same thing that Ogier does. It's just not as good, in my opinion. But he does have a lot of CC in his kit. His basic attack's slow, so that's always nice. Yeah, Minotaur's okay, but there's a lot of other people that I would pick above him at his job. After Minotaur, I would put Siren. Oof. Hang on. Okay. Siren is going into D as well, just after Minotaur. She's kind of got the same limitations as the other two ahead of her. Basically, well, in her case, it's a little bit different, though. Basically, she has a very strong CC chain, and she's able to pick people late game the way that a Flora might. It's just a little bit less of they're now into you, but it is more CC overall. In addition to that, she offers ally invulnerability, which is always nice. The problem with her, though, is that she has no mobility and she's very squishy, which means that if you focus the Siren out, she doesn't bring much. It sort of balances it out. I don't know. I would just say that I would rather have other supports over her. However, a good Siren can pull off plays. Like, she can pull off plays. After Siren, I'm going to be putting Elros. Some people might be a little bit off-put that I'm not putting Elros higher up in the list. However, while he does very high damage with his versatility and it's like off-screen poke, I wouldn't say that having an artillery mage, even one with an AoE stun and a knockback, is super good right now. You're just not going to have a chance to like have your team capitalize off that damage. So even though that you're poking somebody, if they're really that far away, they have a chance to go back to base or something like that. And even if you pop your whole kit, it isn't so high damage that you one-shot them. In addition to that, he's just really susceptible to getting killed by assassins. He has no mobility. His knockback and his ultimate is okay, but like I said, it's not super high damage. It balances out that he's so long range. But if you aren't able to kill the assassin before they get to you, or once they're on top of you, you just die as him. And I just can't warrant that very high, even if he does really high poke damage and can like throw you out of the game early game. I don't know. Plus he's really inconsistent. It's kind of hard to hit his abilities sometimes. I think he's a little buggy, but I'm not sure. After Elros, I am going to be starting F tier. Or no, wait. I don't want to put Thanatos into F tier. I think Thanatos or Bellona, but I'll get to her. I think Thanatos brings up the end of D tier. Basically, if you want the guy to counter marksman, look no further than Thanatos. However, to compensate that, he is very unsafe, even if he does very high damage, and if he ever goes up against a mage, abilities hit him in his smoke. They hit him in his stealth. So even if your marksman can't basic attack them, because deny is so powerful right now, like, I wouldn't even say marksmen are super powerful right now. I'd rate them below melee carries. Like Thanatos. Thanatos is just a bad version of a melee carry. But he offers some unique playstyles. You can make him work sometimes. And he's very good at his job at that niche. However, outside of that, he's very unsafe, and you can die easily on him. So after that, bringing up the almost the worst marksman in my opinion, I'm going to be putting Bologna there. Bologna is going to be bringing up the end of D tier. Basically, the problem that I have with her is she is no mobility, and in addition to that, she's short range. What she does have is a lot of AoE though. So, if she's got people protecting her, I think she has potential to be one of the better marksmen. So there is that, but I think other marksmen do what she does a lot better. If you want somebody with an AoE ult, pick Edict. If you want somebody that just has really high single target damage, pick Odysseus or something. She's scary, but she's also easily kited. So I would say Bologna isn't... she just isn't all that good. But the person that is bringing up F tier, my very best one, is going to be Endor. You'll actually see Endor surprisingly often. I think it's personally just because people enjoy the character. A lot of people think he's fun to play, and I agree with them. The thing is that he's unsafe. Soul Aria is pretty good on him. It makes him really long range, so that's always nice. It makes his ult like almost second longest in the game if you run him Soul Aria, so that's always fun. But like the ability that like throws out the little heads that like bite your ankles and then slow you and root you, those are solid, but they are very inconsistent. I think if you want the most out of him, run him with Frosty Bites and like CDR. Basically, it allows you to slow people and to spam out your abilities as you do it. And running Occult Sciences so that he heals a bunch as he's hurting you, that's always nice too. I just think that he's the very best, the very worst, is the best way of putting it. After him, I'm going to be putting Arjuna. Arjuna offers that AoE teamfight ult the way that most of the other marksmen that aren't as good do. However, his ult only stuns one person and it slows the rest of them. So that automatically makes it not as good in my opinion. But then after that, he basically slows himself when he's using his steroid. So not only does he not have mobility to catch up with you, even though his range is boosted, he's walking slower than you are. So it's just really hard to perform well with Arjuna. Like, I don't think the bonus to the range compensates for how slow he moves. I don't know. He just has no mobility. His ultimate, while it stuns somebody, and it makes him really good early game when you're just fighting someone one-on-one, because he's got a lot of poke damage, and then when level 4 hits, he can stun you and kill you. That's always nice, but then the second level 4 hits, he just doesn't do as much anymore. That kind of applies for every single one of the people that I'm going to be putting next. So I'm going to be putting Takaku next, or Takeko. No, wait. How do you say it? Yeah, Takeko. Not Takaku. It is definitely Takeko. Basically, I think Takeko is one of the best characters that you can play against chaotic messes. She is very, very pub stomp. This is because she has massive single target burst, and once she's on top of you and you're alone, she can guarantee that you're dead. It's very rare that you get away from a Takeko, and she's always going to be able to chase you down. However, she is very unsafe, and she doesn't have mobility outside of her passive, which allows her to chase you. She doesn't have like any kind of dash or anything. So it balances it out. However, I think that at a very high level of play, it makes her very bad, because even though that you're able to blow up somebody and you can guarantee that they're dead because you have enough damage to overkill people. I don't know. It's just really hard to pull it off at a high level of play because somebody's going to stop you. Somebody's going to hit you with a stun or something, and then you're going to be blown up a bit, and then, you know, you don't have a way to get out of it, and you die. That just happens. At level 4, you have great potential to blow somebody up, but this is not a snowball-oriented meta, so it's hard to put her up very high, or high at all, really. After that, I'm going to be putting media. Media, I think, would work pretty well with special cards. The only one she has now is the one that taunts people on the second aspect of her dash, I think. So if you run that with Rune Enhanced, it gives her like 2 stuns in her kit or something like that, in addition to slows that she gets off her first ability, so that's okay. I don't know. She has great potential to one combo somebody, but she's very unsafe while she's doing it. And as an assassin, I can't, like a mage assassin, I can't say that that's what you want to do, you know? Like, there's a lot of people that do what she does but do it better. That's just the be-all end-all of it. She's unique in that she's able to do missing health true damage off her ult, and that's great. It makes securing kills against tanks really easy. But outside of that, I can't really say, hey, pick Medea, or Media, or, you know, she's too unsafe. Despite the fact that she's got mobility, it's just unsafe. Because, like, you can run away all you want, but it's not going to help you. After that, the very last person on the list is going to be Shipton. Shipton offers a great early game. That 1 through 4 is very scary to fight. Do not fight Shipton while she's 1 through 4. However, once that ends, she's terrible. Once you're getting ganked, once you're getting some sort of like small skirmishes or team fights where she isn't able to like out heal you or out damage you, it doesn't work. Shipton, she's just very close range. She's very squishy. If you want to build her tanky, why not pick an actual tank? There's stuff like that. I just can't say that Shipton's in a great place right now. If you really wanted her to be like a tankier support, you could make her heal based off of her own health or something like that, and that would be an interesting way to do it. But I don't know. I can't, like, she's just the worst character in the game right now. I heard that she's getting reworked, and I'm looking forward to that. She needs some help somehow, but as of this moment, she's very close range and very squishy, and she doesn't have mobility. So I just can't really warrant like having a Shipton up there unless you need yet another massive AoE teamfight ultimate. She does bring that. It's great for follow-up, but you know, there's just so many other people you could play instead of her. Anyhow, thanks for watching, everyone. I'm going to be putting a Discord link in the description, and I appreciate any feedback. I'm also going to be putting timestamps, just like my other one. I'm going to be having that pinned in the comments. Anyhow, see you all in the next one.